If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to the Tinseltown podcast.
Once you hear it, everybody, you hear that generic-ass rock music. It is Tuesday night, and I want to say I'm feeling all right. That's right, everybody. It's 9 p.m. Tuesday. The Snobs podcast is here. I am your host, Mick Manhattan, joined by my buddy over here in crime, I should say, Roy Rogers. How you doing, Roy?
Pretty good.
Thank you for coming back. I know you were sacrificing a bit tonight because your precious LA Kings are going to get smoked by the New York Rangers this evening. And I'm glad that you could watch it and witness it with your own eyes.
It'll be after.
Hopefully. I'll just keep it going. Just like, answer me this question.
just keep talking. Like, I gotta go.
Every time you try to start, I'm just gonna be like, you can't leave until you answer me these questions 3. And it's just like start gish galloping you with questions over and over again. Just not let it, but it's just gonna be the weirdest questions I can think. Like, what happens to butter once it's melted, but doesn't go on top of anything? And I'm just gonna make you answer.
It solidifies back into butter. I mean, that one.
Listen, we don't know. There is no scientific study past softening of butter. So we really truly have no idea. We could take a guess. There's no such thing as a liquid butter. I mean, it only comes in a solid or gas. So
it sublimates directly into a gas. Butter gas.
Butter gas.
Popcorn.
I know somebody thought of that.
Huffing popcorn and butter dust. Just lining up rails of it.
There has to be people who have done that with Cheeto dust. You can tell me there's not somebody who's done it with
God.
You know there is. As soon as I said Cheeto dust, you imagined it. You imagined them with the Cheeto dust. Or you've done it with the Cheeto dust. Is that what you're telling me? I told you. It's going to be a barrage of questions tonight. We got a pretty in-depth show for you guys tonight. We're going to be talking some topics. We're going to get to I've been watching some new TV, and we'll talk about that in a sec. And then we're going to talk about Hollywood and this podcast that went on with Adam Scott and Rob Lowe recently, where they were talking about their time on Parks and Rec and how Los Angeles is there's no film in there anymore. And Joe and I are Joe Schmo over here, and Roy Rogers himself are no strangers to what LA can be and how dry it can be. So we're going to get into that a little bit and discuss it. But our main topic for tonight is AI themed movies. And not just that, but the in-depth look of what AI looks in filmmaking. So I'm very excited for that. But let's kick it off. Joe, what are you watching right now? Like what's something that keeps you, like, you got to put it on, it's for you, and it's just like your escape for 1 hour out of the week or whatever?
Well, Severance just wrapped up. So you had the finale for Severance on Friday. So that's what I've been watching up until now. Now I got to find something else until the next season of Severance.
So I had to start 2 new things on my end. One was the White Lotus season 3. I got called out, and thank you for calling me out. But I said on an episode maybe a few weeks ago, when the first episode came out, I hadn't watched it, but I was like, I guess the kids are fucking now each other. Like the brothers and sisters. I was like, I guess that's what's happening. And then somebody called me out who does watch it and goes, no, you need to correct that. That's not what they were doing. I was like, okay. I was like, and even more to step onto it, I just watched it. Well, I've watched the first 3 episodes, right? And then the same person, I told him, I was like, I decided to watch it, see what's actually going on. It's still weird, though. It may not be sex, but it's still weird. But I'm not going to give it away for anybody, but it is still weird. I will say this, though. The same person came back to me and said, never mind. I guess my original prediction is true. I haven't gotten there yet, but I am convinced. And here's the thing. I don't know Mike White. I know he was on Survivor or something like that. It might have been Road Rules. Who knows? Well, if he was on Road Rules, he'd probably have like a cabinet position by now. But I think he was on Survivor. And I don't know if he was well liked. I don't know if he won. His name is Mike White. He's a filmmaker. He makes The White Lotus. He writes and directs every season. And I am convinced, and after only watching 3 episodes of season 3, and that's it. And this is complete and utter bias, I guess. Although I love it. He doesn't, there's nothing happening. There's nothing happening. It's almost just watching people being people. You know, essentially, and like kind of adding current events into their conversations in some way. Like, but there's nothing really happening except when you get wild with the sibling sex. But I'll find out soon. I'll let you know. I'll let you know how I do with it. But
it's an HBO show, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, they had Game of Thrones. They gotta keep the.
Nah, it's not the same, dude. It's, you know what it is? It's this with like really suspenseful music. Okay. So it makes you think something's going to happen, but it's really just us talking. And I have to applaud them because I'm telling you now, it's not basic. It's a good show. It's beautiful. Like, you're interested in the people. Like, I don't mind a good character study show. So like that doesn't bother me. I'm going to take these off because they're glaring at me. It doesn't bother me, but I am convinced, and I'm going to go back and watch the first, second season after this one, that this dude created a show to just live in like the Pacific Islands or wherever. like right now he's in Thailand, but each
pulling
one
an Adam Sandler.
I actually think the second season takes place in Italy. So like he just wants to live in exotic locations and film, film there. Like, and if that's what's happening, I applaud him. It's interesting.
Well, that's what Adam Sandler did. They go and shoot their movies in like Hawaii or Mexico, wherever.
That's true. So did Matthew McConaughey. Said he did that for a little while tw He picked up Matthew McConaughey for a little while. He picked like the wrong.
All right.
Yeah. So like I'm watching that, and then I started watching Adolescence.
Okay.
New Netflix show that just came out. It's about a little, and again, these aren't spoilers because it's not a whodunit. It's not like, are we going to figure out what happened? You're finding out everything that happens as they are finding out. It's all told in real time. So like if it's an hour episode, you are following them all for an hour because it's one continuous take.
Okay.
And it's wild. And the whole show kicks off with the police raiding a house and arresting a 13-year-old boy for murder.
Yeah, I think I saw it. Yeah. I haven't seen this show, but I've seen it.
Stephen Graham wrote it. And he's, I don't think he's directing it, but he wrote it. He created the show. If you don't know Stephen Graham, he played Tommy in Snatch. That's where I remember him from. But he is in countless things. He's always popping up. He's a great actor. I always appreciate seeing him. So like he was in Peaky Blinders. He's in tons of stuff. Like he played Capone in Boardwalk Empire. So he did such a good job in that. But anyway, he's in this. He wrote this and directed. And I don't know if he directed it, but he wrote and created it. I know that. And it took him a few years put together. But basically the whole story, like I said, each episode is 4 episodes. All of them are one take. All of them are different aspects of the investigation. Not the investigation, but the arrest to the investigation that follows that, trying to find the murder weapon, things like that. Into the child psychologist trying to figure out if this kid should go to jail for the rest of his life. I haven't watched the 4th episode. The 4th episode is the trial, I assume, or so it seems like that's what they're building towards. It is terrifying. It's terrifying as a parent because you are real time watching the cops bust in on these people and arrest this 13-year-old child and just talk. And they're not dramatized. They're reading him his rights. They're talking. It's very real, but with a beautiful backdrop. You know what I mean? And the camera follows him all the way through. The 2nd episode blew me away because it dealt with a lot with kids in a school and like just kind of like inquiring there and like what was going on there. And like it takes you because it never cuts. So at one point you're going through this whole schoolyard into the school, all this stuff. I'm like, how are they doing this with like a glide cam or like what do you have? Because it's got to be light enough to carry it for 45 minutes. And we get to the end where the guy, the police officer goes back to talk to his son, and like it's a really nice moment between him and his son. And you're like, it has to be over. Who's it gonna follow? You know what I mean? And like then it goes right behind them and follows like another girl who is a part of the story, and then flies across town over to where the murder happened, and you see the father there. So it's still one continuous thing. And I realized they're using a drone. Holy crap. Like you can do a drone for that long. You don't even think about it, you know? It's incredibly staged, really well done story, incredibly acted, especially the kid who plays Jamie. I don't know his name, but he is the kid who gets arrested and is going to jail for this murder. But like, yeah, he incredible acting. But over the course of the investigation, you find out that it's really an in-depth look at incel culture, and how this young boy who, and I'm not justifying the crimes in it or anything like that, because he stabs another 13-year-old girl because she didn't like him. And like he's triggered at certain points, and they do this really in-depth psychology appointment with a court-appointed psychologist to come in to just sort of like speak on his sentencing and like what they think. And it's just this really intense and fearful what do you call it, encounter between these two characters, this 13-year-old boy and this woman who is clearly terrified but holding it together. And it's it just is a really, like, I'm watching it with my son because he's 13, and I wanted him to kind of like, if he has any questions at this time, to like talk to me or talk to his other parents and stuff like that, and like kind of like, let's talk it out. I don't want you to feel this way, because this kid is clearly insecure. And you see that a lot with incel culture, right? It's based mostly on insecurities and like defensiveness of protecting those insecurities from like being shining. And I you know, I'm not going to speak for you, but I can speak for me. I don't know how many different type of like that in incel culture there are, like the different types, but like even when I was young, like you got it wrong most of the time, like movies, TV, you know, how you were supposed to act around girls, things like that, like what made a man, stuff like that, like, you know, quote unquote. And you know, it's one of those things I think about where I'm like, yeah, I was roped up into that. I was roped up into that culture and such. It wasn't an angry culture for me, it was more of a pathetic culture on my end, you know. But like, I see that, and I see like where I came from, and like thankfully grew from, learned from, and continually try to learn from, you know. And I will tell anybody who's like feeling these insecure feelings, just personally, any young man out there, it is so much nicer of a feeling when you work on those things. And I mean, like, maybe talk to a therapist, maybe really work on these insecurities, coping with things, stuff like that. If you have a traumatic background, really trying to work on yourself, it will lift you up. Yeah. It will help, and it will make you feel better. And honestly, like, I don't understand. I never understood treating women like crap. You know, I'm not saying I haven't had arguments, not even with a girlfriend, but like with women, like, of course I have. Like, I mean, yeah, like you're gonna have arguments, but like it's not the same. But like, what I mean is, like, I never felt the need to like talk shit. I'm not saying there wasn't locker room talk, things like that, but like, yeah, I never felt the need to be part of that.
Is painting women as, you know, this monolithic bad. They're all this way, and it's recently I've been seeing some posts on Reddit about this particular thing, or some person who was kind of trolling incels, and it's been kind of amusing, but it's really kind of gut-wrenching to see somebody who seems to genuinely believe this crap that they're talking about. It's like they're trying to logic, you don't understand, I'm going to prove to you that you're supposed to date. And it's so weird. And the culture of it is that they're constantly like, the analogy I've heard of is the barrel of crab. Have you heard of that?
I've heard that term.
Yeah, you have a barrel of crabs, like fishermen, and they put all the crabs in the barrel, and the crabs can't get out because they're constantly pulling each other back in. Like, they can't get up.
That I did know happens. I didn't know. But I've heard the term. So
yeah, and that's it. That's the analogy put forth towards with incels. Is like, anytime any incel is on these forums, these spaces on the internet, and be like, hey, you know, maybe are we the baddies? And they're like, no. And everybody just piles on, telling that person that, oh, if you leave, you're weak. It's a cult. It's like a cult.
I know.
And
it is, and I got to agree with you on something, because I understand it. I think like we grew up, and it's weird. I think we grew up at a time where our male role model heroes weren't like. I feel like my brothers' role model heroes were the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, the Sylvester Stallone. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy those movies, the Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, things like that. But I feel like our heroes were more quirky guys. They were the guys that were just like, they weren't uncool, but they weren't just the coolest.
Yeah, it was kind of like telling the stories about the guys like us who didn't quite know how to fit in all the time, and
yeah,
but treating it with some sympathy instead of saying like, oh, everybody else is an a-hole because I don't understand how to talk and they're all wrong,
but even I would say like, but the guys like we grew up in movies and TV looking into were like brooding, or they were this or they were that, and like that was what was impressed upon us. So when it got to a point, I think it grew, especially reality TV, it grew into this festering hate of like, why can't I have what I see? Why can't I have this, that? And especially like women, objectifying women in that way. And it's like, I'm not even going to speak on like the trad wife thing or all that stuff. That's not what this is about. I'm talking about the incel culture and stuff. So, and just especially with young kids, and to say this, like it is break free from it. I know your insecurities and stuff like that. It's tough, and you don't want to believe they're insecure, and you want a logic that you're right compared to everybody else. But let's really be logical here. You cannot be right about everything. You can't, and you can't pick and choose what you're right about. So like maybe try something different, because I'm telling you, being this way definitely isn't going to get you laid the way you think you want it to. And this isn't me trying to pitch you everybody to try and go get laid. Like but in that instance, you always get more with honey than you do with vinegar. Always. 100%. Be sweet, be kind, be genuine, and you will always get like more sweet than unkind. All right. And it's in that I just learned about this 80-20 rule from the show, which is like 80% of the women only like 20% of the men. That's bullshit.
Oh, yeah. The hypergamy.
It's bullshit. That is a belief based on The Bachelor and other insane reality shows like that say like all of these women only want like one guy or this, or he has to look like this, or he has to be. I am telling you, first of all, that isn't real. None of that's real. Those women on that show are not real. That isn't even who they are. When they're off, they fart. When they do all this crazy stuff, they tell jokes, they have fun. That's not even who they really are. And that's a shame, because I bet they're all really cool people if they got to be who they are. And I bet you'd like them more. Like that's the thing, but that nobody wants that. So guys, especially young guys who are feeling this, maybe give it a try. I don't know how it says. I'm not trying to, this isn't political, this isn't anything else, but like if you're feeling this, you're feeling anger, you're triggered by this stuff when it comes to masculinity, maybe turn off a John Wayne movie and turn on a Jimmy Stewart. Get a different look at a man. Get a different idea of what a man can be. I definitely say watch Ted Lasso. That's a great show. And you should be softer, because let's be real, especially the guys who are maybe our age, a little younger, dads out there, stuff like that. Who do you want your sons to grow up to be? Who do you want them to be? Regardless of who you are, who do you want your sons to grow up to be? So in your mind, are they a really loving husband? Are they a really loving father? Are they a really kind person? Do they take care of people? Are they the type? They will get that 100% more from you doing it in front of them and living that. And even when you fuck up, and that's okay, because you'll fuck up and maybe you'll yell or whatever, and you'll feel bad, and then you'll feel guilty about it, and those insecurities will come back. And I will tell you, just say you're sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have yelled at you like that. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have went after you like that. Let's work on this together. Give 20 minutes, walk away, come back, just say, hey, I'm sorry. When I flew off the handle, I did this. Don't get guilt about it. Just apologize. It's okay to apologize to your kids, because you shows your kids it's okay to apologize when you're wrong. So I'm a firm believer in that. So if any of you are listening out there, if I could have gotten through to even one of you, I hope I did, because this culture it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch young people go through this. Like it's sad. And it's sad that like girls have to go through this and just be terrified all the time.
Yeah.
And I speaking for all the girl dads out there, like
that's me.
Yeah, like who do you want? Like I think that girl dads should be the type of guy they want their daughter to be with one day.
That is something that I think about when I get frustrated with them, and I might fly off the handle sometimes, but I kind of remind myself, like, would I be okay if she was dating some guy, 10, 15 years down the road? Would I be okay with a guy talking to her like that? Should she be okay with being talked to like that because I talk to her like that? And so then I try to cool down and say, like, Daddy got mad, and it happens, and we're all okay now. Try to chill out. And but yeah, like what you're saying, like these kind of toxic relationships, they get taught to people, and like acting like it's okay for daddy to shove mommy once in a while, and it's not. It's
never okay.
But the kids see that, and then they grow up and they think, well, my dad punched my mom once in a while. It's okay if my husband does it to me. Like, no, it's not. It's not. We gotta break those cycles instead of always pointing to, it was tough when I was a kid. Like, yeah, we should be trying to make it not so tough for our kids.
And keep that, just to add a little bit more to that, to keep in mind, like, and I know a lot of people who have been through that, and the guilt of like having maybe hit their wives or things, or their partners and such, or even their kids at times. And like, I'm not defending anything, but like, I have seen a pattern of generally when it ends in divorce and the guy is on his own, that guilt gets to him, and it either goes down a dark way or they start to find help in some fashion. Hopefully it's mental health help, because that is important. You need to learn how to cope with these things and forgive yourself and give yourself grace over time, especially when you're seeking out that type of forgiveness. And that's not a spiritual thing. I'm talking about just within yourself. I will say a lot of times they get into second relationships and it's not the same. Just do that now. If you feel guilty about it now, make up for it now. Go put yourself through do the work. Get out of doing that now in your first marriage with your kids and all this other stuff, and let them see that work. Let them see what you're putting in, how hard it is, but you're willing to do it for your family. And no matter how it turns out, keep working for better. Always. You can come back from anything if you're alive. You can come back to forgiveness from anything. I do believe that. So like, and I hope it doesn't create these types of cultures that can really hurt. But you know where this was filmed?
Where what was filmed?
Adolescence.
Where was that filmed?
I don't know, somewhere in the UK. Speaking of that, it wasn't in Hollywood. Back to segues. My great. So guys, our second topic tonight, we're talking about a dying Hollywood. So like we said, Rob Lowe and Adam Scott were just having a conversation on a podcast, and I sent it to Joe, and we were kind of talking about it earlier, and I cannot wait to hear more on your points. But we both lived in LA. I mean, even back then, I mean, I'm going back 15 years, 14, 15 years. Yeah. But it was just, even back then, productions were moving out.
Yeah.
They were spending out, and you spent some more time there, and working in the industry and such. What do you think about Hollywood and its trend now?
Well, like the way it kind of is now, is there with the streaming booms a couple of years ago, particularly with COVID, like everybody was streaming, and so it was like suddenly all of these streaming platforms were popping up, and they all wanted new shows, and it was a big boom, and it's popping now. The bubble is popping, and that comes from the strikes that happened, and there's tax incentives all over the place, which is it. I worked in VFX, and we had already gone through these struggles and the hullabaloo about tax incentives and stuff. And I'm living in New Mexico now, which was one of the places that had this big VFX tax incentive. And you can look at this. I won't go into the whole thing, but look up about like Sony ImageWorks. And they built a facility out here, and then New Mexico dropped the incentive or cut it back, and Sony was just like, okay, we're leaving. And there were employees who had been hired and were en route to move out here, and they got the phone calls that like, never mind, we're closing up shop. That they had already sold their condo or broken their lease to their apartment, ended their old jobs, and they just got screwed trying to come out here. And So this has all kind of happened in VFX already, and it's really frustrating. But now it's happening everywhere, and it's a confluence of the pandemic, the bubble, the strikes, and all of these tax incentives all over the place. And people keep saying like, oh, California should be, and they talk about it in that clip that, oh, California should have competitive tax incentives, but like, I've already had this discussion in the VFX world, is that this is not an industry that should need tax incentive.
No.
They're making millions and billions of dollars doing all of this stuff. They don't need like handouts. Like make your movie here. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter where it's made. It's just, you're taking taxpayer money and subsidizing these movies and television shows so that they get
that aren't good.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if they're good or not. It's just, we got California had a lottery, and because I remember I worked on Teen Wolf, the TV show, and I remember us getting like emails being like, oh, but Teen Wolf, we won the lottery this year, so we're gonna do another season. Like, so you were just gonna cancel the show if you didn't get the tax break? I mean, like that's what's so infuriating, is that, like, all of these shows, you have all of these passionate people behind them that want to do all this creative stuff, but you still have these bean counters who are just like, only getting one yacht this year. Nope, sorry, got to cancel that one. I got to get 2 yachts this year, and they're just out of touch, and it's just so screwed up. How
the industry for so long has been like, and I'm talking the studio element, has been so disconnected from filmmakers in the creative process for so long. I mean, and I think that's the rise of these huge blockbuster movies that, really I would say was, all right, if I'm being real, it was Christopher Nolan who kicked this off. Let's be honest. And he's continued it through. He's very talented, though. Like, he's the best of it. So, but Marvel, and everything else, and like all of this huge VFX spectacle movies that can just be done on a green screen completely. Like, and you can set up a studio anywhere for the tax incentives on that. So it's so wild, but like, it's just this disconnect of money. And then you see something like The Electric State that just came out, and it's not good. It's not a good movie, and it cost $320 million. Do you think that went to the VFX artists?
A fraction of it made its way, as they say, the trickle down, the little tiny drips get to the VFX artists who actually make everything look cool.
It was a movie with essentially 3 actors. So like, because almost everyone in the movie was a robot. And not like, well, okay, they did have like regular robots, I guess. Like these ones walking around that we see on Boston Dynamics and such, but most of them looked like they belonged to Chuck E. Cheese. There were some wild ones. So like, there was a lot of creativity there and stuff like that to play with, I guess. Mr. Peanut was in it for some reason. But but like, it's a spectacle that's just like, honestly, it's pretty disgusting that these keep going on, and you're spending $320 million. You're not filming anything in Los Angeles anymore, but you're almost making everyone live there. It's sad. Like, take care of your home. Or
it's like what Rob Lowe said in that thing, is like they wanted to shoot in New York and he didn't want to do it because, like, no, I want to stay here. And that's true. That's true across the board. There's like most of the above the line people, the actors, they live in LA and they don't want to have to travel all the time. They, sometimes it's fun. Oh, we're going to shoot a movie in Japan. We're going to shoot a movie in Budapest or whatever the hell. But yeah, they would rather be able to drive 45 minutes to work and then come home and sleep in their own bed. That's what they would want to do. And that's what we all want to do. But they keep screwing around with it and chasing these incentives all over.
It really is. It's wild to see. Yeah, and they do. And of course, but like, here's the thing. I think the states need to stop, because is there any real, like, I have to see with these incentives, like, how is it possible to really be making money on it?
I mean, it's a race to the bottom. That's like, if you look up the whole thing that went up to Life of Pi and the protest outside the Oscars. I was there, part of that protest, and we had like green stickers on us because we're VFX nerds, and we were just walking up and down. It's like, this is a whole Rhythm and Hughes went out of business and did like almost all of the VFX for this movie, and it was now winning the best picture. It was winning best cinematography. But the VFX artists who did it are out of the job now, and the company that put it all together is going away. And it's happened to us, and now it's happened to everybody else. And I'm not saying that and it's like, oh, you made your bed, now you're sleeping in it. I'm like, the VFX people, we knew that this was coming down the pike to us, but I don't want to get too far off the subject, but there's a little bit of tech bro streak in the VFX world, and we believe that, if I'm so good at my job, I'm not going to get replaced. I'm going to be the one who's my contract's going to get extended, or I'm going to get put on staff. And that if you lost your job, it's because you're not good enough. And so there was all this shtick about, there were incentives. They're in here in New Mexico. There are ones in Vancouver. There's stuff in Georgia, and there's stuff all over the place. Australia, UK, they have their own too. But we were like, I lost my train of thought. What I was saying, we were thinking it wouldn't happen to us. There was too many of us that believed it wasn't going to happen to us. And there was one thing that I said about a place that I worked at. I would bring up to people who would say, if we unionize, they'll move our work to another country. And then we unionize. And you know what they did? They moved our work to another country anyway.
Yep.
So it's like, I watched us appease the bean counters, the money people, and they don't care. Like, they don't care if we we're going to cooperate, not unionize. Like, okay, cool. Thanks for doing that. Well, we're going to send your job to Vancouver anyway. And I don't know why people there's just too much of this whole "it won't happen to me" mentality. And
no, it's not.
Fuck you, I got mine. And that just sucks.
Yeah, I mean, that's going around a lot lately.
Yeah.
I get it, man. And honestly, the more I remember the visual effects artists, just it is amazing to me that the visual effects artists aren't more revered, especially with the movies that are coming out, that just cinematography is not really a thing. And I'm not saying that for everything. God, no. Listen, cinematography is still well respected, but you don't see a whole lot anymore, not in the mainstream, not like the solid cinematographers that but you're seeing more and more of the down and out VFX, amazing VFX artists who are kind of just they're still being railed against. They're not being paid what they were properly owed.
That was something I used to see on Reddit all the time, and I'd always get to the thread way before I could ever get my comment out there. But people would be complaining about some shot and some show, like Walking Dead. There was the deer. That everybody thought the deer looked really, really bad, or Sonic the Hedgehog when the trailer came out, and they were like, "Oh, these look so bad. I can't believe the VFX made it look so bad." And I didn't approve it. I did. The producers and the directors and the executives, those are the guys who approve it.
Yeah, I know, right?
If my design could have looked amazing. My shot could have looked great, but then they want to stick their fingers in it, and then they screw it all up. But the audience blames me. Mentally, they blame me. But it's got to go through all of those guys before it gets to your eyes.
In fairness, yes, but that first Sonic is a bad wonderful one. It is. Because that was
guys that made it like that.
The visual effects guys who made that for them, even as hey, is this what you were looking for? They should have never done
that. I mean, I wasn't part of that process, but I imagine I've been in kinds of processes like that. I have worked on shots where the shot that you saw, if you watched the show that I was working on, and the shot that you saw, I wouldn't put it on my demo reel. But there was an earlier version that I was proud of, and they just noodled the hell out of it and turned it into crap because somebody had it in their head that it has to look a certain way. And I'm like, it looked perfect 3 versions ago. And now we're out of time and you've messed it up. And that's the version that gets final. And
they can't go back too and be like, here, can we get that other version back in? You know what I mean?
And you think they would do that, but I mean, I think I've seen situations like that too. I'm like, oh, they went back to the better version. I see it. I can tell they went back to the better version. But there's a lot. I don't watch the shows that I work on much anymore.
If we were living in a better world at the moment in this country, and I don't say that lightly, like if we were living like a year ago, states could benefit from the decline of LA and offer grants and incentives towards independent filmmaking, which I know they do on a smaller scale, but offer the chance, like it's almost like going into business with them, like offering these grants and stuff like that, and being like, if you use our local, we'll also offer these incentives and such. Like take advantage of the local artists that are want to do this.
But that was the idea. That's one of the people that would advocate for those VFX incentives and be like see, we can be competitive. And the idea is, in theory, that you subsidize the industry and then they establish themselves here. And then you can kind of wean them off the incentives because now we're established and you're making good money and blah, blah, blah. But New Mexico was an example of what happened. They cut the subsidy and they just took off. They didn't even, they just left. And they didn't, it wasn't like we have an established revenue stream there. We have facilities and we have employees and we have ourselves established there. We don't need the subsidy anymore. Now we can make money and everything's good. But it's like, nope, you're turning off the free money spigot. All right, we'll leave it. And so they're not following the incentives in good faith. They're not like, oh, you're going to give us some tax break. I mean, it happens in every industry, like Amazon.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
put a distribution facility here in your town, and we're going to make all of these little towns. Like, how low can you get our taxes? And then they're suffering because now they've got this giant facility that's a big drain on all their resources in town. And I'll go off for days on that.
No. Let's change up gears a little bit because I'm glad we talked a little bit of VFX especially. But I wanted to talk about AI. You know, the strike was last year. A lot going on with it. And AI was at the forefront in a lot of it. You know, AI taking over. People were afraid that AI is going to take their jobs. It's becoming more and more, I don't even know how to put it, like spectacular in a way.
Yeah.
You know? And just in the way that it's kind of coming together and evolving in each turn and learning. Except for Grok, I don't understand what's going on with that one. But like ChatGPT, like that's a good one. You know, there's others as well. And I think it's like, for me, I think in everyday life, like we had to learn computers. I think that's what we're going to have to do with AI. We're going to have to learn to live in a world where AI exists. I don't think it's going to be this big thing where AI takes over and like we're going to be, I mean, I think like if we're going to be like enslaved by anything, it's not going to be AI. Like, right. Like, no,
I think what we're going to have is we're going to have a bunch of morons in charge who are going to be listening to what the AI tells them to do. And the AI is going
to be right.
The AI is going to be totally wrong. And they're going to have no idea because they're morons and they can't tell the difference between it's a good sounding answer. It's wrong, but it sounds good because the large language model had predicted, you know, it created a sentence that sounds legit, but it's completely nonsensical. Anywho,
well, with AI, hold on, first of all, stop shit talking AI.
I'll shit talk AI all day.
Don't shit talk AI. Hey, we need AI in this world. All right, AI is going to bring us together as people. When it feeds us as Soylent Green to other people,
it turns us into Soylent Green.
Oh my god. I'm not as I think AI is going to be more of a pain in the ass than anything for a little while, and I don't think it's going to be AI's fault. It's going to be the tech bros fighting over AI. It's going to become this weird industrial fight that just we're going to miss on all cylinders with it, like because these guys are. I think it's more the guys running it are idiots, and AI is going to like self-correct. I'm not saying it's going to be in our best interest. I
don't know. I heard a story a couple of months ago about I believe it was an airline, but it was a company that decided to try to replace its entire customer service department with AI, and it was a disaster. They laid off like 1,000 people or whatever it was, and they replaced it with this AI. It sucked. The customers hated it. It was terrible. It was giving people bad. I mean, I've Copilot, Microsoft Copilot has given me wrong answers to questions I've asked it about things.
Oh yeah, but you can't remove the human element. That's the thing.
But those people got laid off. They're not backing down. They're not going to say, oops, we screwed up. Let's hire everybody back and have a human customer service thing again. No, they're going to just like, what's the Band-Aid we can put on here? Because we're already saving these millions of dollars. And it's like, well, I got my second yacht, you know?
But it's none of that can sustain.
None of this can sustain. It's not a sustainable system. System that we have is not sustainable by its fundamental, how it works. Like this infinite growth is not going to work, and it's not going to work, and it's all going to collapse if we don't figure out how to make it work for everybody instead of just work for a handful of buttholes.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Now, in the film industry, how far could you see? Like for me, I think it's going to bombard quite a bit at first. I think it has already. I think there's been a lot of flying under the radar, using AI to complete scripts, things like that, to complete maybe shots, stuff like that.
There was some stuff that we did that, and this was before the strike that. And I didn't work on this, but it was at the company I was working for that they did do where there was an actor who was not available. They needed to reshoot a scene, and the actor was not available, and he signed off on it. He consented. They didn't like just do it without his consent. He signed off on it. They had his double. His double was available, and he performed the scene. But then they used AI to do that deep fake, and they replaced his face. So they put the actor's face on it. But those are those kinds of things that like kind of led up into the strike. It was like, well, what's to stop them from doing this?
Making movies when you're dead, like Peter O'Toole or Carrie Fisher.
Well, and that established way back at Back to the Future 2, when they Crispin Glover had sued about using his likeness in the movie. And at the time, it wasn't established, there wasn't a precedent for it. Like they were like, we have the archived footage, we can use it. But then he was like, no, you can't just use footage of me in the movie
and then say I'm in it.
Yeah, so there was a legal battle about that, and that kind of set some precedent, but that was back in the 80s. And now we're like like with the DC movies that Superman, they had Christopher Reeve and George Reeve and
oh my God.
And all of that.
The de-aging is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
It really, and like, it's not as, like, what bothers me is like, so I understand that AI is going to be I think AI can probably become an important tool, especially in the technical world, to maybe, help align cameras, right? Or like maybe pull focus, like, like, I'm not saying take away from the first assistant, not the first assistant, the camera operator.
The first AC is the puller, the focus puller.
Oh yeah, first AC pulls and the second AC loads. So
that was the worst job. I hated that job.
I liked loading. I hated pulling focus. It was I didn't mind like operating. That was but but once my eyes started to go, I was just like, all right, I can't really do this. And I refused to get glasses until like December of last year. So
let me give you your glasses back.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I was just, I was waiting for it. And so for me, I think that AI could be an awesome tool. I think if you don't use it in the way that I know Hollywood is going to use it. And this is what I'm saying, because there's going to be a bubble that bursts there, just like the algorithms of streaming and all that other stuff. There will be a bubble burst where people are like, I don't want AI entertainment.
Oh, it's already happening on YouTube. I see it a lot. I've seen some videos, and they're good videos, but you can tell that they used some AI stuff in there. And the comments are like, "Don't use AI."
Do you know?
It's true, because it's like you could pay $100.
Oh, I know.
And have an artist out there do the thing that you used there. Get a real person to do it for you, and it's just so much better. But
Dude,
anyway,
when I was doing my videos, like I do the classic film reviews more so now than ever. But if you go back to a lot of my other videos where, like I did a lot of filmmaking videos that were about different periods in time. Like I talked about the McCarthy trials and the blacklisting in Hollywood, the Hollywood 10 rather, things like that, filmmaking history, stuff like that, film history. And I would it would take a long time to cut this together. It would take like a week or so of just like focus on that to try and get it done, cut the way I want and such. And some people were just like, we're using AI to do this. And I'm like, no, you know how hard that was?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go and you see somebody else do something similar with AI. It kind of hits you in the heart a little bit.
Yeah.
It really hurts. So I get it. But I do think like when we're writing, like when we're writing the script and such, I use AI to help me organize my stuff. AI is great for that. I put it in, we write it, put it in.
It's a tool. It's a tool, but
that's what it should be.
Yeah, but you can't buy 1,000 hammers and expect the hammers build all the houses. You still got to have people to operate the hammers. You need people to operate the AI, and you need people to make use of all this stuff. And it's just they just want to cut people out as much as possible, because you know that if you have a population that everybody is unemployed because they've all been replaced by AI, they're going to definitely be able to afford things to pay for TV shows and movies and stuff.
I don't understand. Like, sometimes it feels like like they're trying to force natural selection.
Well, yes, some of these people are like social Darwinist types.
But at the same time,
eugenics.
A lot of them are doomsday preppers. So
yeah,
they live forever. And I'm not saying that a forced natural selection is a good idea by any means. It's eugenics. It's basically what it is. And that is what is happening. Oh my God, we're getting the eugenics wars. You just said that last week, didn't you? I think I just came.
Then we got the eugenics wars, and we got Civil War II, and then World War III, and then First Contact.
And it's like 80. Like I will not be here.
We're like 20 years. So we're like 30 years behind. So
yeah, that's fair.
But democracy had a good run. We managed to slow down Judgment Day.
Oh my God, man! Oh my God,
Day,
dude! I can't physically stomach the news anymore.
Yeah, I know.
There's the past 24 hours alone. Every decision I see being made, I'm like, are you human or are you lizard people? Because it feels like you don't care about humans whatsoever.
They care about the title and the status.
But what status
power.
If like everybody wants to like go crazy after a while because you keep fucking with, or people are dying? Like, where's the?
They don't care. In their minds, it's like if anybody out there who disagrees with them is an other who doesn't is they dehumanize their opposition. That nobody could possibly be against me. If you are against me, you must be an evil, terrible person, and you are not deserving of any rights.
I guess like I don't mean to sound naive or dumb or anything. A lot of it is so hypocritical. Like
but they don't care.
I know, but I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It's the circle. It's the circle. It's the snake eating its tail. And was it Aurora Boreas or whatever?
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I gotta just say this for my own brain, just to make sure that it doesn't explode.
My brain is good.
I didn't agree the first time when it was like Obama's this, Obama's that, like he's not even from this country, he's blah blah, and it was everything they could, and then it was Hillary and the emails, and it was Hillary. And listen, I don't like the Clintons. In fact, Democrats, you want some advice? Stop touting them out like they're heroes. They're not. They suck. A lot of us don't like them, comparatively, especially to Trump, who they were friends with back in the day. Like, cut it out. So like when she popped out again this year, I was like, oh fuck. I was like, every time she shows up, it's just a problem. But like, she is not a strong-willed woman who made things happen against all odds. She snaked her way in on every sense and like back deal. Don't. Anybody else, fine. Don't. Not with the Clintons. Do not. I'm not sticking up for that. It doesn't make me MAGA. It just makes me a realist. I can't. And him too. The way we all joked about Monica Lewinsky is disgusting. And I say we. I was a teenager. I did it too. It was disgusting and horrifying. And I'm sorry for any jokes I ever made, and I stand on that. I learned from this shit. But fucking the emails, man, that was a big deal. And this, the chat group.
I mean, yeah, it's
nothing will happen.
It's always rules for me, rules for thee and not for me. That's the way they think. That
nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. There will be no accountability on this and no assurances that it will never happen again. We have let the weasel spoiled kids who got everything. They were the participation trophy kids. That's the weirdest part. It's the weirdest part. The Nepo baby participation trophy. Like, it's not even a participation trophy. It was literally, they won and got the winner's trophy.
They got the gold. Yeah,
they got the gold taken. The gold was taken from the winner.
Yeah,
and like that's what they are. That's what every single one of these higher ups are. And like, again, I've said it before. It's Mean Girls trying to be. Right now, I thought it was Mean Girls trying to be Bond villains. I'm starting to think it's Mean Girls trying to be The Sopranos. I have no idea anymore. But it's just for this point, like it's so confusing because it's like I literally have seen people who worked with Pete Hegseth at Fox News say, "Don't we not remember what he said like about Hillary?" I've seen the videos left and right over the past 24 hours, and it's like literally, like we're just done. Like we're just done. They rule now, and we have to live in this kingdom. I'm not asking for any other reason than I just need to know at this point, because it seems there's a lot of apathy coming from different people and different.
Oh yeah.
You know, how everybody kind of breaks up in a group or something.
Well,
And there's a lot of
people thinking that both sides are the same. That I mean,
they're not.
Yeah, they're not. And the thing is like with me, I'm like there are elements where they're more alike than I would like, and in that case, I'm not going to pick a side. I'm going to say they're both wrong. But
there were, when they voted on the CR, there were people who aligned with Republicans or MAGA who were so mad at the 9 Democrats who voted to keep the government open. They were so mad at Schumer and those other ones. But when asked how they feel about the Republicans, almost every Republican voting for it, they were just doing their job.
Yeah, that's one thing that keeps happening with Republicans and Democrats is that the Democrats get blamed for everything anyway. It doesn't matter if it's their fault or not. The Republicans are never going to take responsibility. They're always going to blame the Democrats for everything. The Democrats are always going to try and take the high road and let themselves get blamed for everything.
I don't, but here's what I don't get. Like, again, like I'm trying to how like you get I don't even fucking know. I don't even think there's something that this is so convolutedly like intertwined. Like it's basically like Christmas lights that just have bad knots in them, and you got to either figure it out or throw them away. And the bad knots of trying to unwrangle all of this is I'm trying to follow it, but I'm like, so the people who most align themselves with MAGA and this thinking and everything. I see a lot of people talk about it, stuff like that. These are hardworking people for the most part. These are people who are out there doing their thing. These are people who don't believe in participation trophies or taking from somebody else, if they won. Like, you might be pissed about the loss. I'm not saying that's handled well by a lot of people, but I'm just saying, for the most part, it's not a participation trophy thing. And they're literally like praising Nepo babies and reality stars.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So like it's these people who are so disconnected from what this administration is.
Yes, in their minds, it's they work backwards. Like, oh, he's super duper rich. He must be really smart and must be really good at business and must be really all of this. And then they work backwards. But if they don't like that person, then they will come up with any justification why. And they think that's what I'm doing. When I say I don't like your guy, they think that I'm starting from a place of I don't like your guy and then working back and that it's Trump derangement syndrome. When really it's like, no, I'm just watching what the guy's doing. And
when one of the guys who wrote that bill just got arrested and his wife just left him for this arrest of trying to solicit a minor. Yeah. So
there's There's a whole subreddit dedicated to this. I believe it's called "Not a Drag Queen," and it's all news like that. That's like, whoa, was this a drag queen? Nope. It looks like it wasn't a drag queen. It looks like it's all these other types of people. It's like
it really is. It's a certain type too.
Mm-hmm.
That it's a certain type we see more and more of these days.
Uh-huh.
They're
obsessed with power, and they're obsessed with like, well,
you know what it is? I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't, and I'm trying to, because I don't want to hate anyone. You know what I mean? I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted.
I know. I'm kind of the mindset of that. I don't hate anybody except people who hate people for no good reason. You know, like,
yeah, like,
and I don't feel ashamed for having contempt for those people. I don't, like, you can right now, you decide not, and then we're cool, you know. But
let's just and now, you know, like if you came up, it's like if you were an alcoholic and you decided to quit drinking, I'm not going to invite you to the party and continually offer you beers all night. Like if you come to the party and yeah, maybe you had some more racist views or other stuff like that, like, but you're trying, we're not going to demonize you when you're trying.
Yeah,
we don't care. Like we want peace. That's what I want in my life. I don't hate people. I just want peace.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down. And I think a lot of people want that. It's kind of funny though, because if you think about everything that's getting taken away right now, especially in the red states, and what's going to definitely be coming down the pipe and going away soon, it's white privilege. It's kind of all the things that make white privilege. Like they're trying to like roll that back for poor people. I think at this point they just want no privilege across the board.
Well, no, they want to reinforce, because they want to go back to a time when white privilege was reinforced by the system. They want.
I think they want I think they want the privileged and the poor.
Yes, but they're doing it. They've got their ammunition for doing that is to tell the poor person. You know, I believe it was Lyndon Johnson who said that, you know, like it's something like, if you can convince the lowest white man that he's better than the highest black man, he'll give you all of his money. You can just pick his pocket or whatever. I forget what, but it's such a stupid. It's talking about the effectiveness of racism, and that's what they're using to get on the side of the guy who's there. You got some guy in Alabama in a trailer who's got nothing going in his life, and what they tell that guy is the reason that you are in this shithole is because of women and black people and gay people. And
I get that. When I say that, but they're pulling apart, and I'm not saying it's, I think everyone should have. My thing was, I don't want to lose white privilege. I just want everyone to have privilege.
Well, yeah.
You know, I want to get to a point where we're progressed.
Right. Yeah. You want a more egalitarian society. Yeah. I agree.
Get to that point. So like, I want everybody to be lifted up versus everybody torn down. And that's what it seems. It's like now a disparity where it's like, nope, we're going to drain every last bit and make you guys all hate each other as much as possible.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
And oh, holy hell, Florida, with your labor laws, ending your child labor laws, or trying to end your child labor laws, because your workforce is gone. It's like we were progressing to a point where we took care of children. We knew that was important. And now we are watching the party where a lot of members of that party or within that party or identify as that party are being taken away for hurting minors in some way, shape, or form, are tearing apart the Department of Education, are tearing apart anything that can help children in any way, shape, or form. And now they want to put them to work as quick as possible. They want just indoctrination. Like we are stripping we're stripping the American dream away from the chance of anyone. The thing we're doing to the migrants is it's on, like, I don't know, we're treating them like cattle. And it's like, and I'm realized when I say this, I'm like, it's so heartbreaking. And now I don't care if you're watching or you're listening to this and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, his heart goes out to, if you are, don't watch and listen because you have no heart and I got no time for you. That's the piece I look for. You know, I got no time for you because that's how you think. And until you're willing to change your heart, like the famous David Lynch saying, change your hearts or die.
And I'm happy to have those conversations because I knew somebody in my life 22 years ago who had many conversations with me and put up with my bullshit, but still talked to me. And it didn't happen right away. It still took another like 7 or 8 years for it to crystallize and for the things to fall into place correctly. And it kind of,
if they're conversations, but they're not conversations.
Well, yeah,
it's screaming at you a million questions, and if you can't answer them, you're just wrong.
Well,
like you don't even get to answer.
If you're willing to have a conversation,
if it's a conversation, you want to sit down, you want to actually answer questions and listen.
If you have a good faith conversation.
Yeah, yes. I'm tired of it though, because you even see it now, like with the panels that go on in these committees where they're just like, I can't recall, or no, or just blatant lies. And it's just like, it bothers me. It bothers me that this is what America is turning into. And I'm going to be honest with you, it has been breaking my heart. It broke my heart when he was announced as the winner. It broke my heart when I saw as many people as I know vote for him, over everything. Like, I don't care if you in your mind were thinking like this, that, or the other, this is what we're going to get, just like the first one. What bothers me is who this person is and who the people that he surrounds himself with. I did not have a childhood where I felt protected or safe, right? I grew up in whether you want to believe that or not, I don't give a shit, but I did not. And my whole childhood, I did not feel safe. I always felt defensive. I always felt on edge because I never knew what was coming. The first 4 years had my alarm bells going. You know, I was just like, this is not right. This is wrong, you know, and I could speak out, but I didn't feel that. Since January 20th, I have felt that same feeling as I felt when I was like poor abused kid. And I use that term loosely. Like, you know, I'm joke more like hyperbole than anything else, but like not the abused part, the poor part
about it. It doesn't sound like you're being, you know.
No, true. I mean, I've been open about it. I'm open about it for me, not about anybody else. But my point that is like, I feel that every day, and I'm a 43-year-old white man. I can't even imagine. Like, I fear for the people I care about, my friends who immigrated here. I fear for the people who didn't just immigrate here, whether they came here illegally, and I don't know. I don't ask, but I do know people who have green cards, and that's a scary thought that they could be taken away, you know, and just because of how they look, just because they may have a tattoo, you know, or this or that or whatever, or, you know, just because they're a different skin color. I wish I could wrap my head around it. I wish I could figure it out. I don't understand how we can be so cruel and unkind and disgusting towards anyone, and why we would do that and then still praise Jesus. And I'm not putting this on Jesus. I'm a spiritual person and I have faith, and that's me, and that's where I'm at. I'm not a religious person, and Christianity has been so convoluted and pulled into some kind of bullshit that it's not recognizable. So when there are people out there being like, well, not all Christians are like this, it doesn't matter. You hide under the same guise. Whether you want to take it back or not, change your name. They can change global warming, the climate change. Maybe it's time you did that with Christianity, because it's not working, because the bad guys took the name and they ran with it, and they're running under it. You need to do something new if you're not like this, and show people like that. But I'm telling you now, this is disgusting. This is inhumane. What we are doing to people. And we are doing this because we're all Americans. And yes, we're protesting, we're fighting. We may not be for it, and we may be against it. But there are a lot of people who are American who aren't, and we got to get through to them. And I don't know how to do that. And the fact that this urgency and this, even in me, I can't even imagine what it's like in so many other people who aren't me and don't have my privilege. So I'm sorry for whoever's going through that right now. I do understand how you're feeling, even on a smaller scale. But we're going to go back to entertaining on this show now. We did pontificate.
I got one last thing right here. I got this new quote. Yeah. I put it up.
What you got?
It's a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that says, "We must all learn to live together as brothers, or we will all perish together as fools." And I think that's a good quote. And
good quote.
Like a lot of good quotes back here, but that's the latest one, and it pertains to what you're saying, right?
Yep. Well, we are going to go to our next portion, our top 5 countdown of AI movies. We're going to kind of motor through these because we talked a lot tonight, and we're glad that you joined in. We're back. We just came back on the 18th, so thank you guys for joining in. Producer Paul has been working his ass off in his regular job. So we cannot wait to get him back on, hang out with him as well. But let's start with number 5, pal. You ready?
Let's go.
All right. What is your number 5 AI movie?
I had 2001.
That's your number 5?
Number 5. Because it's not a movie I've watched a million times. I enjoy it, but it's very good movie. But I'm looking at it like these are my favorite movies. Right?
That's fair. All right, that's fair. My number 5 is Her. I enjoyed this movie. I like Spike Jonze and Her.
No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, shut up. With Joaquin Phoenix, Scarlett Johansson. I think it's one of Joaquin Phoenix's better roles in more recent years. And people will argue that because he's done some pretty epic roles, but I think he just did such a phenomenal job with this one. Scarlett Johansson was good as the voice of the I can't remember the name of the AI. But what I thought was funny, and it was kind of compared, somebody did a comparison. I don't know if this is true. I don't know what works with it, but somebody said that after Spike Jonze and I think it was Sofia Coppola broke up, they were dating or they were married or something, they broke up, she made Lost in Translation right after. And that makes sense, because that is a very that fits that tone. And that Her was made 10 years after, and that's a testament to how men and women deal with breakups. Mm-hmm. He's 10 years later thinking about Her, and right after she's she's living in it. And I just thought that was very cool. And it got me, I saw that and it got me thinking about this movie. So that's my number 5. Okay, way off base. Number 4. What's your number 4, Joe?
My 4 was a Short Circuit.
Short Circuit's a good one. You said that to me earlier, and I was excited for that one. I'm actually kind of mad I didn't think of that. I thought of him as more of a robot than an AI, but he is. But
he's alive. Johnny.
He
Five
is
alive.
Johnny number 5. Well, is he AI or is he lightning operated?
That's the whole thing. He became sentient. He's AI that became sentient, and he wants no disassemble Johnny 5.
No disassemble Johnny 5, especially number 2, because we need a hero. My number 4 is Ex Machina. I thought this was a brilliant little independent thriller. Well acted. It was a lot of fun. But these are 2 good choices, because I love yours too. Racist Fisher Stevens. He's not. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying that was
doing the yeah.
I think I missed one. I did. 3.
There we go.
Out of place. So what is your number 3?
It's very on the nose. It's AI.
I did not like that movie. I was not a huge fan of it. But
it hit me at the right time. I don't know. It was something about it that I really enjoyed it. And what I love about AI kind of stories is thinking about. I love Data in Star Trek, right? I love this idea of this kind of consciousness not quite understanding what it's. I mean, we as humans don't understand what the hell we're supposed to do with ourselves half the time. I think is a great avenue for exploring what that feeling is like. Is like what there's a robot. This robot kid who wants to be a real boy. It's kind of like Pinocchio, but it's well, anyway, I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent, but I do. I mean, I have my criticisms of the movie, but for the most part, I enjoyed it.
He'll be a real boy one day. It's okay, Joe. You'll be a real boy too.
Yeah.
You like it because it's a continuation. It's like Data finally getting his humanity.
Yeah.
And then years later, you watch Picard season 3, and you're like, all right. I'm trying to figure that out. But all right, so that was your number 3. My number 3 is The Matrix. I mean, war with AI. So, but should we be? We need to ask ourselves those questions. Yeah. What's your number 2?
My 2 was T2, Terminator 2.
Oh, I don't know why. All right. Well, I'll just say Terminator was mine for the Terminator.
Yeah, with Terminator 2, I thought Terminator 2 explored more of the what if of the AI. Well, and the T-800, they flip the switch or whatever, and he can start to learn and expand, become something more than what he was.
We all know that Genesis was your favorite. We know.
Yes. No, Dark Fate.
Oh, God damn, that's terrible. Yeah. All right. What's your number 1?
My number 1 was Ex Mach.
That's a good one. Mine was 2001: A Space Odyssey. We kind of I don't think my number 5 was Her, but and the reason being is because that was a terrifying version of AI. Mm-hmm. Before then, it was always very sci-fi and hokey, usually represented by a robot. I on this list, an honorable mention, two honorable mentions I want to say is Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049 would be in one. But The Day the Earth Stood Still, Gort, is essentially an AI being.
I thought about that one, but it's still an alien race, right? That unleashes.
Listen, if Data can be AI, then they can be AI, right? I don't want to hear it. He was his own race. But yeah, that's the 2001. I think handled it beautifully. And then if you pick the best, my favorite representations of AI, Data would definitely be one of them. Stuff like that. I didn't do that list for this, but these movies definitely, when I think AI, they stand out to me. So. 2001 was a good one. Kubrick always too. It's always beauty. But it's our top 5 list of AI movies. Thank you guys for watching. And then if you listen to it earlier, we talked about AI for like a few seconds and then pontificated for like 30 minutes. So we appreciate you just keeping on touch of that. I should cut those clips and put them as our
there we go.
This bald eagle tastes bad. Or this bald eagle tastes bad rather. So but if you're watching this as a clip, go back, check out the full podcast. We have big conversation. We got in depth with a lot of stuff. We appreciate you watching and listening. But let's get on to our final segments for the evening. This is going to be my review of Snow White. Snow White. That's what it was. Not really. Not even. It doesn't really work. She was great. I don't particularly care for Rachel Zegler. It doesn't bother me that she's not some pristine porcelain doll looking woman. She was fine. They even kind of gave the reason she has a stupid haircut. Like they gave me a reason and I dug that. I was like, I'm into this. So I was like, the queen had her haircut off, so she looks like a little uglier comparatively. I dug it. They gave us a backstory of what happened to her dad, what happened to her mom, what's going on, who is she? I don't know what she was talking about when she said this is where like girls save themselves and there is no like boys to save them. There is, and I'm pretty sure he was Robin Hood. They never actually say it, but I'm pretty sure that they had merry men and everything. One of them had a bow staff. It was, they were there. So let's get
Was he a fox?
He was not a fox, but he was he was a sly devil. I'll tell you that much.
Well, you just wait. I'm sure they'll do that live action version of Robin Hood eventually. Wouldn't surprise me. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You continue.
You're not wrong though. Like they're gonna do a live action. That's like my favorite Disney animated film is that Robin Hood version. And my second favorite being Pinocchio. And I saw what they did with that. I didn't mind it as much, but at the same time, I was like, this is so unwarranted and unneeded.
That was the Zemeckis one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it has some things that you appreciate, those little Zemeckis tropes that are there. But Ziegler in this, amazing voice. She sings the songs really well. She did fine. Like they didn't give her great dialogue to work with, so it wasn't like she was nailing everything. She was but she was fine. She carried the movie. I didn't mind. She had a good back and forth of not Robin Hood. But here's what I don't get. I guess the not Robin Hood guy and his merry band of whatevers were the guys that we saw in the picture originally. Were like, oh, they're not doing dwarves, they're doing these guys. It was them. They're like a band of thieves. Stole from the rich. And he wore a green hooded jacket. Like it was all green.
Like set up a spin-off movie.
It was it could have been. It really could have been. But like that was like the love she found or whatever. I was like, fine. Here's where it gets tough for me, and that's why it's at a 2. The 2 is for the songs with Ziegler were good. That's it. Some scenes with her, I like the set that night. It felt very Disney-fied. I don't think it was needed. But they made a whole big stink about not having little people play the dwarves. I guess because whoever the fuck said something. I don't know who. I think it was Peter Dinklage, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to go after anybody. About not using her or exploiting them. What we got, I don't get. What we got looked like the Polar Express rejected elves. And they were trying to shoehorn him in. Like Dopey looks like Alfred E. Newman from Mad TV. Or not Mad TV, Mad Magazine. And that, not a little bit, a lot of bit.
He looks exactly like him.
But terrifying, because they're trying to make him look human. And like all of them just have giant heads like they're playing NBA Jam 1996. And it's just it's so troublesome as I'm watching this because I'm like, these aren't the cute elves that I knew, but they're singing the songs, their voices are good, and they're dancing around, and it's fine, but it's horrifying at the same time. You know what it looks like? What was his name from Masters of the Universe? The one they replaced Orko with.
Gwildor.
What is it? Gwildor. I've seen that movie about 6 times, and I can never remember anything except Tila. Tila I can remember. But
remember you got me that for my birthday year.
I did, didn't I? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Masters of the Universe, baby. See, like I said, like I remember it. They looked like him. They look like him.
They look like Gwildor.
But like CGI versions.
Uh-huh.
Big heads that I don't know, it just didn't work. It was scary at points, not scary like I was like but like scary in the sense
uncanny valley kind of thing.
It's like, this is unsettling. Yeah, like this is just, I don't want to look at this. They had a little person in the merry group of thieves. Why couldn't we have more? What was the point? Like, what? I don't even want to get into that. The worst part of this movie, and this isn't a political statement against Israel or anything else, is Gal Gadot. She is the worst part of this movie. There's one thing that I was like, she only because the outfit fits her, like the one that where it's just her face and she has the crown and everything. It's like she must have been the only one this thing fit because like that's it. Is like she looks good in this outfit. She cannot sing. She has a terrible voice. Even her scenes feel forced. Uh-huh. She has like a dancing troupe with her. I realize it's supposed to be a musical, but like it's still kind of like she's coming down talking about how evil she is and how much she wants to rule over everybody in this, and like she has to be hard like a diamond, and like her like subjects are just dancing. They're just in on this, and I was like, okay, this is odd.
Sounds
and like
familiar. Like, yay, destroy everything, rule over us.
She was just
daddy.
Oh gosh. Everything, like she was just not enjoyable. She was not a good she just wasn't a good adversary. She wasn't a well-written villain. They tried to expand on who she was, but it was like the most hollow thing you can think of. Like she wants to be beautiful because people will listen to her if she's beautiful, and she can keep them all safe. And it's bonkers. The whole reasoning behind her whole premise is bonkers and stupid. And like the movie really suffered by her being in it. I think if you were really going to take this movie seriously, you would have written a better bad guy backstory and like cast like a Kate Blanchett in, older stepmotherly type, beautiful, had a movie come out the same weekend as you and she looked phenomenal. So like, if you're thinking about beauty, and I can, no offense, I can understand half of what she's saying. I can't understand Gal Gadot when she is like pressing or singing and things like that, like really like high dialogue ready to go. It breaks up with her accent. Should that keep her out of certain roles? Yes, in musicals. Sorry.
Well, I mean, speech. They do speech and accent training all the time for actors.
If they did it in the Israeli dialect, I'm sure she would be fine. And that's not putting her down or her dialect. But it was like, this is a musical. You're singing, and you're the main villain in Snow White. You're singing. Like it's gonna happen. And it just wasn't up to task. I don't know how this movie got made the way it did. I don't know how this movie ballooned to where it was. I gave it a 2 because I could tell people who worked on it hard. And Zegler was good. I give her credit. She was very good in it. Other than that, when it's streaming, I would say watch this. Like, there's no point in going to the theater to watch this. There's no point in paying to rent to watch this. It's not. I would almost I think James said back here, the 2019 Lion King is still the worst. I'd almost disagree with you because at least that was basically the same story. It was pointless, but at least it was the same story. And I got James Earl Jones as Mufasa again. Right there, that's going to put a point above this. It just overall was just a tough movie. And I don't want to talk about it anymore. So if you watch it as a clip, go watch the whole show because we got a lot more coming. But next up is the mixed movie pick. That's my theme song for it. It's from 1980. And remember, everybody, we're doing Women's Appreciation in Film Month, and we're picking classic films that really show the wonderfulness of women and who they are. And this is one of my favorites. This is a great comedy. Dolly Parton's first role, the Queen of Country. I love Dolly Parton. And Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin. Lily Tomlin's one of my favorite comedians of all time. Like, she is so funny. And I have warmed up to Jane Fonda. And now I just want to say this. because I know a lot of people from back then who hate Jane Fonda. Let it go. That's all I'm going to say. Forgiveness is divine. Let it go. Because this movie is worth the watch. Dabney Coleman's great in it. It's a lot of fun. It is about 3 women in the workforce who have a horribly bigoted and sexist boss. And he is, just giving a hard time to them all the time. So they kidnap him. And that's where I'm going to leave you. I'm going to let you watch the rest if you haven't seen it. But make sure to check out on Thursday my Snobs Film History Classic Film review of 9 to 5. And then Friday, we are finishing off the classic film reviews of the James Bond series with No Time to Die as the final in the series that I watched. That's right. I've watched them all now. I've even watched the offshoots, stuff like that. We will still be talking about Popcorn and Pints. You're going to want to go down below. Make sure you follow along because I love being on Popcorn and Pints. We have some cool stuff coming up. The 200th episode's coming up. We're going to be talking Bond for the next couple of months. We can't wait to have you join in. But guys, I'm going to say goodnight to Roy because I know he's got a lot going on. Roy, go Rangers. I appreciate you being here. Hopefully you can be on very soon. But sure. I'm gonna let you go while I close out the show. But I'm not gonna let you go. But you have a good night, Roy. Thank you.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
I'll see you later.
You guys can check out Roy and all of his great movies. You have to go find them though. That's what happened. But guys, thank you again so much for joining in. I know we kind of went all off and stuff like that. It's crazy times. And I do feel that in times like these where I know people who are going through some big things, some big feelings, and I worry about them and stuff like that. So, and there's a lot of what's happening in this world is affecting a lot of people in my life, and I see it every day. I see how it's happening. So I do feel it is important to speak out. Now I try to limit it as much as I can on here. I'll do updates on TikTok, stuff like that, on top of the movie stuff we do, but that may be going away soon, so who knows. But of course, I'm on here, kicking it here, doing the movies, but we will be talking about stuff on the podcast to kind of keep things going, keep relevant, keep our opinions out there, and keep people aware of what's happening at different times. I want to say thank you guys for watching. If you were offended by anything that we said, I'm sorry, but let's figure out why, because we did not try to offend. So join us next time. Scene Snobs podcast, Tuesday nights. We're going to be doing some Scene Snobs reviews very soon, too. So we're going to have some more movies to kind of go over. But remember to go check out all of our stuff. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us for more. Go check us out on Letterboxd, Substack, TikTok, Blue Sky. We can't wait to be a part of it, have it with you. We're be a part of it with you and joke, laugh, and have you guys be a part of the Snob Nate because we love movies and we know you do too. So join. All right, everybody. Until next time, I'm Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs. Remember to be kind. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourselves. If you can go out every day and just be a little more kind towards each other, it's going to go well. It's going to go big. Get up in the morning. Be kind to your significant other. Be kind to your kids. Be kind to your parents. Be kind to whoever you can. And foster those relationships and your friends and stuff like that. Be kind to your own mental health. Take care of yourself because that's important. Treat yourself when you can, but treat yourself to, you keeping yourself, mentally stable. It's tough times and I get this. So make sure you work on yourself. That's important. And until next time, make sure to be classy and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye.